Hey everybody. Listen, figuring out how much to eat is as important as figuring out what to eat. And I've got a pretty simple technique that you can use at work to figure out what your plate should look like. So I carry my food around with me. Get yourself an insulated bag. And we're going to go from start to finish because I'm about to have my own lunch here. You also get some recipe tips because I'll tell you what I cooked. So if you got a plate, something like this. This is a dinner plate, but it's a small one. Don't get one of those gigantic platters because you're gonna fill it up, and that's not what I'm looking for. Like I said, it matters how much you eat and how much of what kind of foods that you eat. I highly recommend stealing silverware to carry with you from your local restaurants. Patronize your local restaurants and tip well, but yeah, take advantage of the plastic pre-wrapped silverware, and you'll always have it for your lunch at work. So, shout out Buffalo Wild Wings. I got my silverware, I got my plate. I want to fill up my plate in thirds. Thirds. You know, a guess anyway. It doesn't have to be exact. And I want to fill up a third of my plate with a lean protein. And what I've got here, this Day-Glo stuff, is chicken thighs, and they're highly seasoned. They were cooked with turmeric and a kind of Middle Eastern vibe marinade. Chicken thighs are the bomb diggity because they are cheap. They're pretty lean. You cannot overcook them. The boneless, skinless ones are the easiest things in the world to deal with. All I did was marinate some chicken thighs. I threw them in the oven at about 400 degrees. I kicked the broiler on at the end to get them all nice and crispy. So I'm going to fill up about a third of my plate with chicken. Then I want to fill up the other 2/3 of my plate with some carbohydrates. So this is a sweet potato. All I did was stick some holes in it and threw it in my microwave for 5 minutes. This is like I would say a medium-sized sweet potato. If you're trying to figure out your sweet potato calories in MyFitnessPal, do not get one of those, Frankenstein giant sweet potatoes, because they're going to be a whole lot more. Don't try to call it one sweet potato if it's, a half a pound. So anyway, I'm getting my sweet potato. I'm going to peel it best as I can here in front of you. And I'm going to put about, I don't know, maybe another third of my plate in sweet potato. Then I got some sauteed greens because I'm from Georgia and we like greens. This is collards and mustards all mixed up. Seriously, all I did with these was chop them, throw them into a hot saute pan, and let them cook down a little bit with some garlic. Easiest thing in the world. So I'm going to fill up the other third of my plate with the collard greens. So what I tell you, I said 2/3 of your plate with carbohydrate and 1/3 with protein, right? A lot of people don't realize it, but your vegetables, these greens, are carbohydrates. This is what it looks like when it's done. But these greens are carbohydrates too. Granted, they're low carb and they got a ton of nutrients and fiber and cool stuff in them. But don't tell me you're not eating carbs if you're eating vegetables, because that's what they are primarily. So I got my sweet potato. Every trainer in the world loves sweet potatoes because they're low glycemic carbohydrate. They have a lot of fiber, a lot of micronutrients. They got those beta carotenes. That's what makes them so nice and orange. So they're super duper good for you. And then I've got my lean protein over here. We didn't talk about the third type of macronutrient, the third way that we divide up food, and that's healthy fats. But I'll tell you, I used some olive oil in my greens, so I got a healthy fat there. And also in my marinade, I had olive oil with my chicken thigh, so that's got me some healthy fat there. Don't worry too much about getting enough healthy fats or getting enough fats in your diet, because if you are an American, you probably are getting too much. It matters how much you eat as much as what you're eating. So at any rate, this is what my 2/3 plate looks like. Follow this kind of guideline and you'll have a good idea of how much and what kind of foods to eat and to carry in your lunch bag to work.